What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see we actually got 22 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got one pick wrong and got 22 right, which is about a 95% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 95% win rate. So we are on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 95% win rate and get 22 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be a link down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $1,500 just yesterday, and another member who won $1,290 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to RB7690 who said let's go, and also shouts out to Taco Life Chosman 6799 who said X1. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is none other than Azora Stevens, and this one is for 13.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now looking at someone like Azora Stevens, we have actually seen her go on the under in actually 2 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at the last 5 games, we do see on August 11th faced off against Seattle, had 15 points there. August 13th faced off against New York Liberty, actually had 17 points. August 16th faced off against Dallas, had 15 points, then 6 points against Washington Mystics on August 18th. Then August 21st faced off against Dallas and had 5 points there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, when we look at Azora Stevens over the last 5, she has gone on the under in 2 out of the last 5. But on top of that, we also do know her average over the last 5 is 11.6. So, significantly below her line there. Now, coming into this matchup, we do also see when it comes to, Azora Stevens and Los Angeles Sparks, they have themselves a very good matchup against none other than actually Phoenix Mercury. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game, and looking at where both these teams do actually lie, starting off with Los Angeles Sparks. Los Angeles Sparks do come in at actually, the 9th spot in the WNBA, and for that, we do also see when it comes to that, we do know that Los Angeles Sparks also rank 6th when it comes to the Western Conference. Now they have a record of 17 wins and 18 losses. That's a 48.6% win percentage there. On top of that, we also do know that they have a record of 7 wins and 10 losses in their home, and then at away they have 10-8 record. And then over the last, over their streak, they are currently now on a 1-game win streak. Now they face off against Phoenix Mercury, who are in the same conference. They rank 4th in the actual WNBA, but rank 3rd in the Western Conference. Now they have a record of 22 wins and 14 losses. That's a 61.1% win percentage. They're also 12-6 from home, 10-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So coming into this matchup, we do very much like this situation, as when we look at someone like Azora Stevens, we do very much, like the situation here for the under, because when we actually look at Phoenix Mercury, we do see Phoenix Mercury do rank 5th when it comes to points allowed. Now, not only do Phoenix Mercury, rank pretty decent, obviously they rank, I would say, high mid-tier, but I think that's really pushing us over the edge is due to the fact that when you look at Azora Stevens and her position, Phoenix Mercury actually do a fantastic job against her position. Now, she usually does end up playing center. I know it does say here forward and center, but we usually tend to see her in that center position mostly, in a sense that, we actually see the plays that Los Angeles Sparks do like to run, and it tends to see Azora Stevens in more of a center type role. So that's why coming into this game, we do very, very much like the under, as Phoenix Mercury do a fantastic job at restricting points to the center position. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under for this one. So Azora Stevens, 13.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about another great player, and that is none other than Aliyah Boston. And this one is for 14.5 points, and this one actually is for more. Now, looking at Aliyah Boston, we actually have seen her go in the over in 2 out of the last 5 games, so it is fantastic to see there. Now, when it comes to Aliyah, we do know we have seen her August 13th faced off against Dallas, had 14 points there. August 16th faced off against Washington Mystics, had 20 points. Then August 18th faced off against Connecticut Sun, had 14 points. August 23rd faced off against Minnesota, had 15 points. Then 14 points against Minnesota on August 25th. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at, Aliyah Boston, we have definitely seen her, do pretty well at times, and other times has also gotten very, very close to her line. Only missed it by 0.5. So the time that she has missed, only missed it by 0.5. Very convincing to us when it comes to a usage rate standpoint, because her average over the last 5 is also 15.4. Now, looking more into this matchup, we do know Indiana Fever face off against Seattle Storm coming into this game. And looking at both these teams, starting off with Fever, Indiana Fever do rank 8th when it comes to, the WNBA ranking, but they also rank 3rd in the Eastern Conference. Now, they actually have a record of 19 wins and 18 losses. That's a 51.4% win percentage. On top of that, they are 10-9 from home, 9-9 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. Now, when we look at their matchup, which is none other than actually, Seattle Storm. Seattle Storm do actually rank 6th when it comes to the WNBA, as they also have a record that puts them in the 4th spot in the Western Conference. Now, they have a record of 20 wins and 18 losses. That's a 52.6% win percentage. On top of that, they are 8-10 from home, 12-8 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. So Seattle Storm have actually done a pretty decent job there. However, when we also look at Seattle Storm, we do know that they rank 4th when it comes to points allowed. So why do we like the over for this situation here? And the 2 big reasons is, one, that we also do see when it comes to Seattle Storm, we actually do know that they do a very, very poor job at restricting points to the center position, which is what Aliyah Boston tends to play. Now, Aliyah Boston definitely does play multiple positions, in a sense that sometimes you see in the power forward situation, but most of the time she definitely is in that center position. And that's why coming into this game, we do very, very much like this opportunity for her to actually go on the over here. So for someone like Aliyah Boston, and Seattle Storm, we also do know when it comes to Aliyah, we have seen her usage rate remain very, very high. As you've seen, and as we mentioned already, her points, the times that she has missed it, she's only missed it by 0.5. So it looks very good to us in a sense that her usage rate remains very high, whether it's a tough team or even a poor team. So because of that, we definitely see both of those things taken into consideration. We do very much like the over for this one. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for this situation for someone like Aliyah Boston. And when you look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also are favored for the over as well. So Aliyah Boston, 14.5 points for more, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about a great player, and that is none other than Kelsey Plum. So Kelsey Plum, great player. This one is for 20.5 points, and this one actually is for less. So as I mentioned before, there is only 2 games for today, so a lot of the picks do actually end up being, from this actual or some overlap between some of these picks. Now, looking at Kelsey Plum, we have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5, and as I mentioned before, we do know August 11th, we saw her face off against Seattle, had 20 points there. August 13th, faced off against New York Liberty, had 26 points. Then August 16th, faced off against Dallas, had 28 points. August 18th, faced off against Washington, had 25 points. And then 20 points against Dallas on August 21st. So it has been pretty interesting there. Obviously, looking at someone like Kelsey Plum, we have definitely seen her go on the under in some situations. Other games going on the over, and her average over the last 5 is also 23.8. Now, coming into this matchup, we do also see when it comes to Kelsey Plum, not only that, but we also do know that Sparks face off against Phoenix Mercury. Now, we have already touched on them before, but just to quickly reiterate, Los Angeles Sparks do come in at the 9th spot in the WNBA. And on top of that, they have a record of 17 wins and 18 losses. But over the last 10 games, they've actually had a record of 6-4, which is interesting to see. Now, when it comes to their matchup, they face off against none other than Phoenix Mercury, where Mercury do actually come in at the 4th spot in the WNBA, have a record of 22 wins and 14 losses. But on top of that, over the last 10 games, actually have a record of 6-4. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Obviously, looking at the last games, we do very much like this situation in a sense that when we look at Phoenix Mercury, we do know Mercury do rank 5th when it comes to points allowed, but we also do know when it comes to Phoenix Mercury, they actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the star player's position. Now, what I mean by this is that what we tend to see with Phoenix Mercury when it comes to defensive strategies is they like to hone in, focus in on stars, and try to restrict them as much as they can. And with Kelsey Plum being, I would say one or probably even if the main player for this Sparks team, we are expecting a lot of the defensive pressure actually to be on someone like Kelsey Plum here. Now, for that reason, we do very much like this situation for the under. We think a lot of that defensive pressure is definitely going to hurt Kelsey Plum in the sense of her usage rate. That's why coming into this matchup, we do very much like the under for this one. Now, when we look at Kelsey Plum and the matchup against Phoenix Mercury, we also do see when we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also our favorite for the under as well. So it works out in our favor there. So Kelsey Plum, 20.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Natasha Howard. So Natasha Howard, great player, as we all know, for none other than Indiana Fever. And we have seen her do a fantastic job so far this season, because we have seen her actually average 11.5 points, 6.8 rebounds, 1.4 assists, and also 1.1 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job for Fever, especially due to the fact that Fever have definitely struggled a little bit when it actually comes to, their actual, roster, in a sense that they have had a lot of injuries. But looking at Indiana Fever, they do have themselves a very good matchup in this next game against Seattle Storm. So it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams. And looking at where both these teams do rank, obviously starting off with, Indiana Fever, we have seen Indiana Fever come in at the 8th spot in the WNBA. So it has been a little bit of an interesting season for Fever. They have, kind of stayed within this range of the 6th spot or the 8th spot and have kind of been bouncing back and forth. They do find themselves in the 8th spot in the WNBA, but still find themselves in the 3rd spot in the Eastern Conference. Now, they actually have a record of 19 wins and 18 losses. That's a 51.4% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 10-9 from home, 9-9 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Natasha Howard, we definitely have seen her, do very well at times. Now, coming into this next matchup, we do see Seattle Storm rank a little bit better as they do come in at the 6th spot in the WNBA. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, Natasha Howard has actually done a really good job for Indiana Fever, but they haven't been they've actually been replaced, as Indiana Fever did actually have the 6th spot, but Seattle Storm come in at the 6th spot, but also the 4th spot in the Western Conference. They have a record of 20 wins and 18 losses. That's a 52.6% win percentage. On top of that, they are also 8-10 from home, 12-8 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Seattle Storm, we do know when it comes to this matchup, we do actually see, Seattle Storm do rank a little bit better, but Seattle Storm defensively also rank 4th when it comes to points allowed, 4th when it comes to assists allowed, and when it comes to rebounds allowed, they do rank 12th. So they do rank a little bit lower in that actual, rebounding category. And that's why coming into this matchup, we do like the under for someone like Natasha Howard, but strictly just for points and assists. And a big reason being for that is due to the fact that we have actually seen, Natasha Howard actually go on the under in, some games as well, but is also doesn't really have that high of a usage rate compared to her rebounding line. Now, she does score a good amount of points, and her assist line is her assist averages are a little bit on the lower side. And obviously, rebounds are 6.8 while points are 11.5. But overall, her usage rate does seem to be a little bit higher in that rebounding. That's why we are expecting her to see her suffer mainly in points and assists, on top of Seattle Storm also doing a poor job at rebounds. That's definitely going to affect that. But the fact that they do a great job at defending points and assists, we definitely see that affecting Natasha Howard greatly. So for that reason, we definitely would keep an eye out for the actual under for someone like Natasha Howard. But as I've mentioned, strictly for points and assists. Now, looking at actually, Natasha Howard over the last 5 games, we definitely have seen some pretty interesting matchups there. We do actually see when it comes to, Natasha Howard in the last 5 on the 13th actually faced off against Dallas, had, 81-80 loss in that matchup with 12 points, 12 rebounds, and 1 assist there. After that, we saw, her face off against Washington Mystics on the 16th, had an 88-84 loss. In that matchup, had 11 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist. Then had 1 assist, 9 rebounds, 18 points on a 99-93 win against Connecticut Sun on the 18th. After that, on the 23rd, faced off against Minnesota, had a 95-90 loss with 8 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist in that matchup. After that, we saw on the 25th, faced off against Minnesota Lynx, had a 97-84 loss with 10 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Natasha Howard, we definitely have seen her do well in some matchups and other matchups not really do too well. But coming into this next one, we do very, very much like the actual under for this situation. But as I've mentioned, strictly just for points and assists there. So definitely keep an eye out for Natasha Howard's line. As I've mentioned, keep an eye out for the line. If the line is too close to her averages, then definitely look to go on the under there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Rae Burrell. So, Rae Burrell, great player from none other than Los Angeles Sparks, and she has done a fantastic job for that team because she's actually averaged 6.5 points, 2.1 rebounds, and 1.1 assists. So, she's definitely done a fantastic job coming into this, into this game because we have seen her definitely do a great job for this team. But looking at Los Angeles Sparks, they find themselves in a very, very good matchup against Phoenix Mercury. Now, it is going to be an exciting game between both of these teams. But looking at where both these teams do rank, starting off with the Sparks, we have seen Sparks actually struggle just a little bit, but they find themselves in the 9th spot in the WNBA. Now, anything can really happen. There are still a couple of games still, but when it comes to Sparks, they are looking to try to turn things around. Now, they actually are not only 9th in the WNBA, but also rank actually 6th in the Western Conference. And they have a record of 17 wins and 18 losses. So that's a 48.6% win percentage. They're also 7-10 from home, 10-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. Now, they face off against none other than Phoenix Mercury, or Phoenix Mercury do actually have the 4th spot in the WNBA. Now, not only do they have the actual, 4th spot, but they also have the 3rd spot in the Western Conference. They have a record of 22 wins, 14 losses. That's a 61.1% win percentage. They're also 12-6 from home, 10-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So it's definitely been interesting to see there. Obviously, Mercury are ranked a little bit higher, and coming into this matchup, obviously Mercury are favored in this game, but we are talking about props here, and looking at actually where Phoenix Mercury do rank defensively, we do actually see that Mercury actually rank 5th when it comes to points allowed, 6th when it comes to assists allowed, and then when it comes to rebounds allowed, they also do rank 10th. So this one's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, coming into this matchup, we definitely are liking this situation here due to the fact that when we look at this matchup, we are expecting, coming into this matchup that Rae Burrell will probably go on the over. Now, a big big reason for this is due to the fact that, as we've mentioned, Phoenix Mercury don't really rank too well in all three categories. They do rank mid-tier in some of them, but we don't really see that being enough due to the fact that when we look at someone like Rae Burrell, what we have seen time and time again is that we actually do know that, Rae Burrell is also the guard position, and Phoenix Mercury actually do a very, very poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the guard position here. Now, Rae doesn't have that high of a usage rate in the assist department, a little bit higher in points and rebounds. Now, we could definitely see, an actual matchup happen more likely for that situation there. So that's why I definitely would keep an eye out for that for sure. Now, coming into this game, we do also know when it comes to, none other than actually Rae Burrell. We have seen her over the last 5 games do a pretty decent job. We see on the 11th face-off against Seattle Storm, had a 94-91 win with 8 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists there. Then on the 13th face-off against New York Liberty, had a 105-97 loss with 9 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist in that matchup. Then on the 16th, faced off against Dallas, had a 97-96 win with 4 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist in that matchup. Then on the 18th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had a 95-86 loss with 10 points, 0 rebounds, 2 assists there. And then on the 21st, faced off against Dallas Wings, had an 81-80 win with 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists there. So pretty interesting to see. Obviously, coming into this matchup, we definitely have seen, someone like Rae Burrell do a great job, throughout. But coming into this matchup, we do very, very much like the over, as we've mentioned, for someone like Rae Burrell coming into this game. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Gabby Williams. So there is only 2 games for actually today. So a lot of the, picks that we are going to be talking about, there may be some actual, I would say, correlation, or in a sense that from the same game. Now, looking at someone like Gabby Williams, we have seen her do a fantastic job, actually averaging 12.2 points, 4.4 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and also 2.4 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, when we actually look at someone like Gabby Williams, not only have we seen her do a fantastic job, but what we also have seen when it comes to, Gabby Williams, we do know Seattle Storm face off against Indiana Fever. Now, looking at this matchup, we do know where both these teams rank, but just to remind you all again, Seattle Storm do rank 6th when it comes to the WNBA and also rank 4th in the Western Conference. Now, they actually have a record of 20 wins and 18 losses. However, over the last 10 games, they've actually had a record of 4-6. Now, they are currently on a 3-game win streak as well. They face off against Fever, where Fever have fallen to the 8th spot in the WNBA, but still actually ranked 3rd in the Eastern Conference. Now, when we look at this matchup, we do know, Indiana Fever and this matchup against none other than Seattle Storm. We do know Fever rank 8th, but also have a record of 19 wins and 18 losses. But over the last 10 games, have actually had a record of 4-6. So, interestingly enough there, we do very, very much like the situation for someone like Gabby Williams coming into this game, in a sense that when we look at Indiana Fever, we have seen Fever drop a couple of rankings, because they do now rank 9th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank when it comes to assists allowed, they rank 5th, and then rebounds allowed, they rank 4th. So, they've fallen a little bit in points, still somewhat, I would say, high mid-tier when it comes to rebounds and assists. Now, coming into this matchup, we do like the over for this situation here, but strictly just for points. Now, for that reason, we definitely would keep an eye out for the over just for the points line, due to the fact that Fever just do a really poor job at restricting that. Since rebounds and assists are a little bit iffy, they rank somewhat decent, we wouldn't really focus on that. And the fact that Fever also struggle at restricting points to the forward position, we definitely see that being a huge effect there. So, for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for someone like Gabby Williams. Now, looking at her last 5 games, we see on the 16th, faced off against Atlanta Dream, had an 80-78 win with 11 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists there. After that, on the 18th, faced off against Phoenix Mercury, had an 85-82 loss with 13 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists there. Then on the 20th, faced off against Chicago, had a 94-88 win with 9 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Then on the 23rd, faced off against Dallas, had a 95-60 win with 9 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist there. And then on the 25th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had an 84-82 win with 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So we definitely have seen, someone like Gabby Williams do a fantastic job for this team, and we definitely are expecting coming into this matchup that we should definitely see her go on the over once again. Now, for someone like Gabby Williams, just definitely keep an eye out for the line. As I mentioned, the line is under her averages, and definitely look to go on the over there. So getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Sami Whitcomb. So Sami Whitcomb, great player from none other than Phoenix Mercury. Now, she has done a fantastic job so far this season, actually averaging 9.2 points, 2.9 rebounds, and 2.5 assists, and also 0.7 steals. Now, as we all know, Phoenix Mercury face off against Los Angeles Sparks, and as we mentioned before, when we actually look at Los Angeles Sparks and the matchup against Phoenix Mercury, looking at where both these teams do rank, starting off with Mercury do rank 4th in the actual, WNBA, but also rank 3rd in the Western Conference. Now, they have a record of 22 wins and 14 losses. That's a 61.1% win percentage. They're also 12-6 from home, 10-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. Now, as we mentioned before, they face off against, Los Angeles Sparks, where Los Angeles Sparks do rank 9th in the WNBA. Now, they have a record of 17 wins and 18 losses, but over the last 10 games, they actually have a record of 6-4. So, for that reason, we do very, very much like this situation in the sense that we do like, the matchup, because looking at Los Angeles Sparks, we do actually see Sparks do actually rank when it comes to points allowed. They rank 13th. Assists allowed, they rank 12th. And then rebounds allowed, they do rank, actually surprisingly well, as they rank 3rd. Now, coming into this matchup, we do actually like the over for someone like Sami Whitcomb, but strictly just for points and assists. And a big reason for that is due to the fact that they do rank very, very poorly in both of those positions. So that's why coming into this game, we do very, very much like the over for this one. We definitely see someone like Sami Whitcomb being able to go on the over, and we definitely are expecting someone of her caliber to be able to go on the over in a situation like this as well. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the over for this situation here. Now, for looking at someone like Sami over the last 5 games, you see on the 16th, faced off against the Las Vegas Aces, had an 86-83 loss with 3 points, 1 rebound, 0 assists there. On the 18th, faced off against Seattle Storm, had an 85-82 win with 15 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist in that matchup. Then on the 20th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had a 98-91 win with 5 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists there. After that, on the 22nd, faced off against the Las Vegas Aces, had an 83-61 loss with 3 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. And then had 3 assists, 1 rebound, 6 points against Golden State Valkyries with an 81-72 win there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Sami, we have definitely seen her do a fantastic job, in these matchups. But coming into this game, we do very, very much like the actual, over, as I've mentioned, for someone like Sami, but in the points and actually assist department. So definitely keep an eye out for both of those lines.